I'd been around Hillary enough, not a lot, but enough, and Bill Clinton too, to see a very big difference between the two people. You just naturally like Clinton. I'll tell you a quick story. You want to hear this?
Very much.
Yeah, so I'm a congressman. It's 1999. The United States and NATO, not without UN approval, are doing to my father's Serbia what Russia's doing to Ukraine now.
Oh, I noticed.
Right? We decided to bomb a sovereign country, forcing them to give up a part of their country. Do you remember this?
Thank you. Can I just ask you to pause it? Because I want to thank you for bringing that up.
Oh.
It's one of the worst things that this country has done in a long time, and it's been completely forgotten. It was not talked about then.
Right.
And so I hope people aren't familiar with what you're talking about will listen carefully.
It was 1999. It was the Balkans and Serbia, and the United States and NATO decided to bomb Serbia over Kosovo, which is part of Serbia. And basically, it was whether or not the Serbs would accept an agreement that was made in France, Rambouillet, that basically said, this part of your country has to be submitted to a referendum where the Muslims outnumber the Christian community by like 10 to 1. And if you don't submit this to a vote, which obviously was going to go for separation, secession, we're going to bomb you. Extortion at the highest level.
But what was the motive there? Why would we want to get involved in the internal affairs of Serbia? I don't why would we kill all those people to achieve that result? Do you have any idea?
I do. I have different ideas. I think a lot of it has to do with, the politics in the Middle East and, having a Muslim country or two in Europe itself, because before that was the war in Bosnia, where it was divided up three ways, and the Muslims have a section of Bosnia, and to the east is the Republic of Srpska, where the Serbs are, the Croatians are to the west. The Balkans have historically been, very difficult places with the different peoples getting along, and a lot of
hence the word balkanize. Yeah,
that's exactly right. But I learned this about politics at the high level, which was surprising to me, that a lot of our foreign policy, and this is frightening, is driven by campaign contributions.
This time of year, we are focused on our families because we're apt to be with our families, celebrating together. And it's the time of year where you might ask yourself, what happens when you're gone? What's left behind? Well, protect your family's future and peace of mind with a product called Policy Genius. Policy Genius has one goal: to make it easy to find and buy life insurance, so your loved ones have something when you're not here. Something they can use to cover debts and expenses if something unexpected happens, because unexpected things do happen. With Policy Genius, you don't need to struggle to do this. You can find life insurance policies that start at $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online, and that lets you avoid unnecessary medical exams, which is always good. Policy Genius combines digital tools with the expertise of real licensed agents. You compare quotes from America's top insurers side by side for free, and there are no hidden fees. Their licensed support team helps you get what you need fast so you can get on with your life. Join thousands of happy Policy Genius customers who left 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. So secure your families tomorrow so you have peace of mind today. It's easy. Go to policygenius.com/Tucker to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Again, it's policygenius.com/Tucker.
And
of course.
Yeah. I could see
all of it. Yeah.
But foreign policy, think about that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it is. Yeah. Oh, I see it every day.
Yeah. Well, she was running for the U.S. Senate in New York. Hillary was. And there's a prominent Albanian community in the state of New York. How much Clinton's desire and intention to support, the Kosovar issue that the Albanians supported had something to do with his local domestic politics. Tip O'Neill said, all politics is local. The Clintons are experts at that. I don't know for sure that was the motivation. I think it might have been part of it because she was running for the Senate. However it was, they did it. And I was the only Serbian American in Congress, and I was a Democrat, and my party was doing this. But most of the Republicans went along with it as well, because it was the establishment Republican Party of the Cheneys, right?
Of course, it's war.
It's
we get
war.
to kill people. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
always.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they bombed this country my father came from, and it was, on a personal level, it was really hard. I think about my late father, and he would tell me stories about World War II. My father spent 4 years in a Nazi prisoner of war camp, and then 3 years in a refugee camp after the war, waiting for the U.S. to pass a law called the Displaced Persons Act, which allowed my father and millions of others like him with these long and hard to pronounce last names a chance to come to America. Freedom. My dad loved America. And there was no place like it. If you're willing to work hard, you can make it. And if you don't, your kids can do good. Like eventually what happened with my brother and me. But freedom was the thing. And I saw that. David Axelrod was working for me then. And I would go to his office and I'd vent these MFers, this MF and Clinton. What did they come up? Serbia was an ally with the United States in World War II. Serbia was an ally with the United States in World War I. And now they're violating international law and bombing a sovereign country to support those on the other side of the war, as opposed to trying to work something out through the United Nations. You know what? It was just maddening.
It's
and
disgusting.
I got to support this. I got to support my party. So anyway, and I'd vent. And so we're figuring out ways where I could be constructive. Now I'm an American, and God forbid, now we're at war with the country my father came from. My loyalties are to the United States. And there was a big vote.
Bless you for saying that.
There was a big vote on supporting the military effort against Serbia, against my father's country. It was tied, 212. My colleague and at the time friend, Jesse Jackson Jr., voted against the war. The Black Caucus was against the war.
Good for him.
Black kids go and fight these wars. I took the position, I hate this war. I spoke against it before they started it. I was one of 15 congressmen, Democrats, Kucinich, another one, who said, don't do this. You bomb this country, you're going to unleash the furies. Milosevic is a crazy guy. He's going to kick out innocent Kosovars out of that country. It's coming. They wanted it. It was a provocative act by NATO. No one Milosevic would do that. And most people would suffer like they did. But then they put it on the Serbs, right? And demonized them worldwide. But the Black Caucus, in many ways, the Black community really understands abuse of power more than any other community because they've been on the wrong end of that historically. Yes. They're not buying it. So the bombing starts on a Thursday as we all leave from Congress. They timed it. We had a 2-week recess for spring break. They start, and I'm Saturday, I'm watching this on CNN. And anyway, long story short, I'm venting to Axelrod, and I this is making me sick. I got to do something. By then, they had taken three U.S. soldiers had been taken prisoner by the Serbs during that war. They had stumbled into Serbia, and they were taken prisoners. Nobody knew where they were. The Red Cross wasn't allowed in. Milosevic had been demonized, the president of Serbia, and in many ways justifiably, but worldwide. And they were making him look, and they were calling ethnic cleansing genocide, which is also another lie. It's not good. But ethnic cleansing, it's the nature of how things have happened in Europe all over the place. 12 million Germans were ethnically cleansed from the east to the west after World War II.
A lot of them murdered. Yep.
Yeah, right? So anyway, I'm frustrated. Axelrod comes up with, they take the soldiers. Because I'm the only Serb, these guys from the Serbian government are reaching out to me. I don't know if they're real or not. And I see one of them on television with Milosevic. A guy by the name of Bogoljub Kadic, very interesting man. Long and short of it is, Axelrod, I'm meeting with him. I want to play a role. I got to do something. And he says, why don't you try to get those soldiers out? But you can't do it by yourself because I speak the language. That's my first language, my father. My mother was American born. So how do you get there? They won't let me. I'm a junior congressman. I mean, they'll crush me. They won't let me go. State Department was against it. And then I saw that Reverend Jesse Jackson, Ramsey Clark,
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Reverend Jesse Jackson wanted to do what Ramsey Clark had done. He wanted to go visit the bombing sites, but that he had made a condition that he won't do it unless he can see the 3 soldiers. So I don't know Jesse Jackson at the time. Since then, he's become kind of a friend. So I see the son, we're young congressmen. And I see Jesse Jr., and we vote on a Tuesday. We get done with our votes, like 11 o'clock Washington time. We're sitting in the chamber. It's empty. It's just me and him. And I said, hey, Jesse, I saw that your dad wants to go to Serbia and see those soldiers. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I don't know if this is bullshit or not, but these guys from the government approached me because my father came from that country, and I speak the language. If I could arrange for your father to go to Serbia to see those soldiers, you think he might do it? And he said, he sure would. Why don't you call the Reverend now? And I said, what? He said, call the Reverend now. And I said, You call your dad Reverend? Right.
Not surprised.
No. And he said, you call him. I said, look, I don't know your dad. You call him. See if he's interested. Then let me know, and then I'll call him. So moments later, we're at our offices. He calls me. I'm in the Cannon building, right? 5th floor. And he says, I just talked to the Reverend. He's in Mississippi at a voter registration drive. Call him. He's waiting for your call. So I call him. First time I ever talked to Jesse Jackson. It's like, I don't know, spring, May of 1999. And April, May. And I said, and if you ever talk to him on the phone, he speaks very softly. He's a very powerful speaker, but privately, very softly. And I said, Reverend Jackson, this is Congressman Blagojevich. I serve with your son. Understand? He says, I said, can I call you on a hard line? You know, you're on a cell phone. It's kind of a delicate thing I'm talking about. I don't know if this is proper. And he goes, I can't right now. I'm on a voter registration job in Mississippi. Talk to me in code. First time I talked to him, I got to go, right? Okay. I said, well, I'm calling you about over there. And he says, understand. I said, I talked to a guy in the government who says it's possible for you to go over there. Understand? I said, if you're willing to do it, he's going to talk to the big cheese today at 4:00. Understand? I said, if the answer is yes, how soon can you go? And can you go, can you leave tomorrow? And he says, oh, I can't. I'm here doing voter registration because it was a Tuesday. But if you make this happen, I can go on Friday and we can move on. He says to me, right? Right.
I miss people like this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said, and then he says, and you pull this off, I'm taking you with me. I didn't say it, but I'm thinking to myself, of course I'm going with. Okay. I'm putting this all together. Anyway, we got to go. He did it. He was, the government wanted Jackson. And Jackson put together this interfaith coalition of religious leaders, left-wing religious leaders from very diverse, Catholic priests, Jewish rabbis, Methodist ministers, this lady named Dr. Joan Brown Campbell from the National Council of Churches. They were all part of this delegation, Jesse Jackson and me. And so we go. I speak the language, and, they're very understandably mistrustful of America because we're bombing them. Bombs were falling while we were there. They wouldn't stop the bombing. The Clinton administration kept trying to squeeze us. Jackson, I guess he's able to procure things. He got like a plane. He got like a commercial plane. World Air. You'll appreciate this story. World Airways. And we're supposed to leave on Saturday. And then Friday evening, I get a phone call from his aide, and he said, we got to postpone our trip because I said, why? He goes, well, the CEO of World Airways called the Reverend and said they can't let us have the plane until they get war insurance on it. Okay? So the next day, my wife sees me and says, I thought you were getting ready to go to Serbia. Patty, and our baby Amy our first one was 2 years old. And I said, no, it's been delayed. That's something about war insurance. And then it clicked. Patty said, war insurance? I said, yeah, we're flying into a war zone. They don't want us to give us a plane. And so then she quietly calls our insurance agent, neighborhood insurance agent, State Farm, says, if my husband voluntarily goes into a war zone and gets killed, do I still get his life insurance? Right. And they checked. He got back to her and said, yeah, he's covered. And she said, okay, I love you. Good luck. Wish you luck.
Amazing.
Right.
Well, I don't know. The real explanation that would explain why we pushed NATO to bomb Serbia. But I do know that we killed a ton of Christians. In
Kosovo, the Serbs, they were ethnically cleansed in Kosovo.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah.
So the U.S., but it does seem like a lot of our interventions wind up killing Christians, from the bomb on Nagasaki, which was not a military significant place, but it was the center of Christianity in Japan.
Oh.
To the war in Iraq that basically ended the Christian population of Iraq, to Syria, to Gaza, to Serbia. It seems like one thread that connects all of those is the killing of Christians by the U.S. government. You ever thought of that?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.